Hello, welcome to the channel. This video is talking about adjectives. Let's get started. Alright, this is the intro, very beginning of Unit 7 adjectives, and the program starting with a poem. We will talk about this later. And let's take a look. What is adjective? Okay, so first of all, we use adjective with nouns and pronouns, and we use color yellow to represent anything related to adjectives. And it's always stick with nouns and pronoun, which is talking about color blue. When we want to describe something or somebody, something or somebody are all related to color blue. So you can tell there are two colors related, color yellow and color blue. For something and someone, we use color blue, and for adjectives, we all use color yellow to represent. Now, what's next? We can use adjectives like big, blue, and beautiful to tell more about something or somebody looks like. And we could also use other types of adjective like this. We use adjective like happy, strong, interesting to describe qualities of something or someone. Quality of a color blue will be also a kind of adjectives. Then what this chapter will be covered. Let's take a look. In the unit, we look at the following. First, common adjective suffix, like beautiful, incredible, and careless. Ed and ing adjective. The difference between bored and boring, excited and exciting. Alright, and negative adjective prefix, incredible, impossible, disobedient, uncaring. And also the positions of adjective in a sentence. For example, a red dress, the word red. The dress looked red. Okay, red. And a beautiful long dress. Okay, so a long red dress and beautiful. Okay, how could they allocate in an order? And adjective patterns. Alright, also it is important for you to learn about adjectives. And adjectives are interesting to read about. It is vital that you do every activity in this unit. Okay, then let's take a look at the poem at the very beginning of the chapter. Let's take a look how many adjectives we could find. I highlight them all in yellow. Let's take a look. The title of the poem is On a Different Planet. Okay, I told them quite clearly the world was all round. Round is an adjective. My opening statement being technically sound, and the other one is sound. My mom was archist. Archist is another adjective, which means very emotional. Emotional in a sudden, okay, because it feels shocked. Let's listen.
Aghast.
Aghast. Aghast. Okay, it's not round, it's flat. So flat is another adjective. If it's round, we fall off. It's as simple as that. My dad joined in. I agree with your mother. She's clever, attractive. So clever, attractive are adjectives. And that's why I love her. Saying the world isn't flat is just as incredible. So incredible is another adjective. Almost like saying that the moon is inedible. So
Inedible.
Inedible is means not suitable or not good enough to eat. Okay? Everyone knows that the moon tastes of cheese. The earth is quite flat and no one likes peas. The moon is inedible. It's made out of rock. My angry response, the word angry, gave my mother a shock. I know you're not right, said my mother. You are beaten. The word beaten, okay, is another adjective. Okay, because I looked just last night and the moon was self-eaten. Okay, so by Paul OK. Now, last time we have an introduction about adjectives and what we're gonna cover in this series, and today we are having two topics of adjectives. One, using adjectives, and the second one is common adjective suffixes. Okay, so first one, let's take a look. Using adjectives. Now, adjectives are one of the biggest and common important groups of words in English. And if you can see, adjectives colored yellow could be a single word and could be phrases and could be a full sentence. Okay, and if it is a phrase, there are couples of phrases in English that could function as an adjective. For example, to infinitive phrases, prepositional phrases, and participial phrases, as well as a positive. Okay, so other than this, when we are talking about a full sentence that function as colored yellow as an adjective, it is relative close. Okay, all right, then they make the languages, the purposes of using adjectives are making a sentence more detailed and giving more information to the reader and make the sentence become more interesting. So, what actually an adjective is used to describe? An adjective is used to describe, okay, color blue. And color blue could be nouns or pronouns. Okay, so nouns like dress, restaurant, story, and we could use adjectives like pretty. They are single word adjective. Red, Japanese, which is a noun, and also incredible to tell you more about the color blue. And also we use pronoun. Okay, we use adjective to describe a pronoun. For example, she looked wonderful. Wonderful is telling you more about she. It was very expensive. Okay, so the word expensive is telling you more about it. Okay, so, and the other one, you have to be careful because when adjectives is used to describe pronouns, now remember pronouns like he, she, it, I, we, you, they, or some other pronoun, we have to use pattern number 2, and as well as linking verbs. For example, be, become, look, okay, to tell you more about these pronouns. Okay, for example, it is beautiful. The word beautiful telling you more about it, but not beautiful it. Okay, unlike the positions where we put on an adjective to describe a noun. Okay, so pretty, red can directly put in front of the noun, but however, pronoun, we can't do that. We can't do the same way. We have to say she looked wonderful or she is wonderful. So you can tell the positions of adjectives when they are dealing with nouns and pronouns will be slightly different, and we have to be cautious about that. And then the second part is the common adjective suffixes. Okay, let's get started. Okay, common adjective suffixes. Okay, like color blue. Okay, many adjectives such as tall, thin, young, blue, good, etc. They do not have special forms. By just taking a look at the verb, we can tell these words are adjectives. Okay, however, there are some common adjective suffixes that mean the ending of a word. Okay, can tell us it is an adjective. For example, when a word ends with able or ible, for example, we could tell they are adjectives. Okay, for example, acceptable, enjoyable, flexible, divisible. All these end with ble or ible could be an adjective. And suffixes such as al, ful, ic, ive, ous, and even y. Alright, we would know that these words are also adjectives. For example, historical, magical, beautiful, harmful, specific, terrific, attractive, active, glorious, humorous, easy, wealthy. All these are actually function as an adjective. And also words that end with less, okay, without, for example, careless and useless. All these could tell you that the word is an adjective. Okay, today the topic is about ed and ing adjectives. Take a look at these two sentences and see if you can answer it properly. So the word given is excited and exciting. It was a very exciting or exciting game. Okay, the other one. Mac was very excited or exciting. His team scored the winning goal. Alright, in order to answer this question properly, we have to take a look at the following explanation. This is really important because you can tell ed adjective and ing adjectives are commonly used in most of the sentences. So let's take a look a little more deeper. Okay? Many adjectives are formed by adding suffixes ed and ing, which means they are ended with ed or ing to verbs. So to make it become a color yellow, an adjective. However, the most important thing is, what's the difference between these two groups of adjectives? Okay, the first one, adjectives ending in ed describe, which means telling people how they feel about something or someone. Now, for example, I was bored at the party. I find myself feeling bored, okay, and the party is boring. So you can tell, I was bored mean I feel bored, okay? And how about adjectives ending in ing? Adjective ended in ed is telling you, okay, how the person feel. Then how about ing? Adjective ending in ing telling things or a person that makes other people feel. For example, the party was boring. It means the party make people feel bored. So you can tell, ed adjective is simply tell how one is feel in that way, in a way. And the other one, ing adjective is, okay, something or some person make other people feel that way. Another example, I am frightened. I feel scared. Okay, for example, I'm frightening. That means I make other people feel scared. Okay, so that is the difference between the ed adjectives and ing adjectives. Let's take a look at another example. I was boring at the party. Okay, I make other people feel bored at the party. Now you can see the difference between I was bored at the party, which means I am bored. Okay, I feel bored. But if I was boring at the party, which means I make other people feel that way. Okay, now that is something you have to be careful. There are some words, okay, they are not ended with ed or ing when they are an adjective. So let's take a look at these two words. The adjectives formed from the verb scared are scared and scary. Okay, scaring is never been used. Okay, so scaring is never used as an adjective. And also, there's some other word. Impress. Impressing is never been used as an adjective. Instead, we say impressive. Today, we're gonna talk about some negative suffixes of adjective. Okay, let's take a look at the presentation. Negative adjective prefix. Negative adjective prefixes. Now, we could use prefixes like anti, this, o, in, ill. Okay, so all these are putting in front of a word, okay, to make adjectives become negative. For example, convenient become inconvenient. And the prefix un is mostly commonly used, and we can use it to adjectives beginning with any letters. For example, unhappy, unplanned, unbelievable. And we use prefixes like il, I am, ir, and I am with the following adjectives. For example, okay, begin with il, like, logical become illogical. Okay, begin with b or am or p with I am, possible become impossible. Beginning with r, we have ir. Okay, responsible to become irresponsible. Letters begin with others. Okay, we will use in. For example, correct become incorrect. So you can use all these prefixes to start an adjective to make it become a negative meaning. And these are just a little combination that you could use in real world. And what's next? Let's take a look. Now, some tips for you. The prefixes anti and non are not common. We usually use anti to show something. Show what? Show that someone, something is against another someone and something. For example, anti-smoking campaign is equal to a campaign against smoking. And also, with anti or non, we usually use a hyphen after these two prefixes, but not after other prefixes. This topic is about the positions of adjectives. Where should we put an adjective in a sentence? There are several different cases that we have to consider. Let's take a look at the first one. The positions of adjectives. Now, we often use adjectives to put it in front of color blue or not. For example, now Hong Kong is a fantastic city. City is a blue, and fantastic is the color yellow. Telling you more about the city is putting in front of city, the blue. He's a kind boy. The word kind is a color yellow, telling you more about the blue boy, and also putting in front of this blue. The clever girl wrote a brilliant essay. Okay, brilliant is telling you more about essay. Is putting in front of the color blue. Also, there are some adjectives that follow after linking verbs, and they are not putting in front of a color blue, but instead, they will be after a verb, a red, a color red. Let's take a look at the following examples. Adjectives can also follow certain verbs. These verbs are known as linking verb, and we actually use pattern number 2 to write the sentence. Now, a verb is a linking verb if it could be replaced by verb to be. It's was where. Now, some of the most common linking verbs are the following: appear, seem, be, verb to be, remain, become, go, feel, taste, sound, look, get, turn, stay, and smell. And these are the examples. Hong Kong is fantastic. The word fantastic follows the linking verb to be. It's I feel sad. The word sad is follow the linking verb feel. You look handsome in that suit. Okay, the word handsome follow the linking verb look. You can tell the word feel and the word look could be replaced by verb to be. I am sad. You are handsome. So that's the reason we are sure that feel and look are linking verb in this situation. Very nice. Now, after we understand that there are some adjectives color yellow, they could only putting in front of a color blue, but not after a color red. And what are they? Let's take a look. Some adjectives can be used in only one positions. Now, these adjectives are used before nouns, before the blue. Elder, eventual, formal, inner, main, only, outer, so, upper, other. Okay, for example, the main character's elder sister. We can't say sister elder, okay, or sister is elder. Was the only interesting person in the book. Okay, so elder is one of them. Very nice. Now, there are some adjectives. They can't be putting in front of a color blue. They could only putting after a color red. And what are they? Let's take a look. And the following adjectives are followed after linking verbs. Let's take a look. Who are they? Afraid, alike, alive, alone, ashamed, asleep, content, glad, unwell, and well. Example: I'm glad she got well so quickly. So the word glad should be after the linking verb is was where. We can't say a glad person. Yesterday, she still looked quite unwell. Unwell also put behind the linking verb look. So we can say unwell person. Okay? That's very good. This topic is talking about the positions and the order of placing adjectives, different adjectives in a single sentence. Let's take a look. Order of adjectives before nouns. In order to understand the adjectives that we put in front of a blue, we are talking about two different types of adjectives that we put in front of a color blue. The first one we are talking about is the cumulative adjectives. Cumulative adjectives means different types of adjectives we put in front of the same color blue. If you are having different types of adjectives that put in front of a blue, we should follow an order, and these are the order that you usually follow. First, we'll be putting opinion, then size, age, shape, color, origin, material, purpose, before a color blue. So, in order to make ourselves more easy to remember, we actually could break down into two different parts, and we could say Osa scom. Okay, Osa scom. Alright, so it helps us to better remember the sequence of these adjectives the way that in front of a color blue. Now, remember, okay, above all these, we put quantity at the beginning of all cumulative adjectives. Other than cumulative adjectives, which means different types of adjective we put together in front of a color blue, there's an other types of adjectives. We call this coordinate. Coordinate adjectives simply mean the same type of the adjectives. If we put the same type of adjectives in front of a color blue, how should we arrange? Let's take a look. The use of comma. Now, when there are more than two adjectives after a linking verb, we put a comma between the first and the second adjective, like this. He is kind, comma, generous, and nice. However, if we put in front of a color blue, how do we arrange adjectives? Adjective, especially talking about coordinate adjectives, come before a noun. We usually put comma between them. Now, adjectives give similar information. Coordinate adjectives, that is, adjectives that have equal in meaning. For example, he is a kind, comma, generous, comma, nice man. Now, a simple test for knowing if we are dealing with coordinate adjective could be arranged in this way. Sometimes it is really hard to tell whether it is if we are dealing with coordinate adjectives. That is a simple test that helps us to identify if we are dealing with coordinate adjectives before a color blue. What is it? Let's take a look. Now first, place the word A and D and between two adjectives. And second, afterwards we reverse the two adjectives. Now if in both situations the result phrase still sound appropriate, then we are most likely dealing with coordinate adjectives. So we could use a comma between them in order to understand the order of an adjective putting in front of a color blue. We have to understand the concept between cumulative adjectives and coordinate adjectives. This video is actually covering different patterns that people commonly use adjectives in the sentences. And we can dive into 5 different patterns that people commonly use. And each pattern actually is evolving in a different way. And let's dive into it. Okay, let's take a look. Adjective patterns. Michelle spent a year studying in the UK. This is her academic report. Now, there are 5 different common adjective patterns in her report. Take a look at them. Michelle is always willing to work hard. Of course, it is difficult for her to study in another language. Michelle is motivated enough to manage it. It is unfair of us to expect Michelle to pass all her exams in her first year. After all, it is unusual that students perform so well in a foreign language. However, if she continues to study this hard, I'm certain that she will get great marks next year. Now, we are talking about pattern 1. Pattern 1 actually is the most basic one, and let's take a look. What is it? Now, the first pattern, adjectives often followed by either two infinitives or a clause starting with that. We use this pattern to describe people's reactions, feelings, and opinions. Now, for example, Michelle is willing. The adjective willing followed with to work hard. She was happy to go aboard. To work hard is an adverb, and it to infinitive phase function as an adverb telling you more about willing. Willing what? To go work hard. And to go aboard is another to infinitive phase function as adverb, and is telling you more about happy. There's some other adjectives follow this pattern. Able, afraid, lucky, pleased, anxious, due, right, shocked, glad, stupid, likely, welcome, certain, careful, fit, sure, surprised, wrong, and happy. Now, there's some tips. We often use enough and to with this pattern. Now, we use enough after the adjective, and we use to before an adjective. Take a look. Michelle is old enough to study abroad. She's too young to drive a car. Okay, the word too is actually a color green, telling you more about young. Okay, too young. Too young to what? To drive a car. And again, these to drive a car is telling you further elaborate what is the too young means. Okay, so its function is an adverb. To infinitive function is an adverb. When we try to make comments about someone, we use pattern 2. The adjectives ways of pattern. Let's take a look. Make comments about specific actions. We have to use a prepositional phrase. And what is prepositional phrase? A prepositions plus a blue. And this time, the preposition that we use is for. Example, it is difficult for her to study. Okay, difficult is the color yellow, the adjective. For her, difficult what? For her. It's telling you more about difficult. For her what? To study. Okay, in a foreign language. This is the second pattern we use to make comments for a specific actions. And we use pattern 3, the third pattern, to describe our feeling about some actions. Let's take a look. Say what we think of someone's action. Again, we use prepositional phrase. But this time, the preposition is of plus color blue. Okay, so example. It is unfair of us. Okay, of us is a prepositional phrase telling you more about unfair. Unfair what? Of us. To expect Stanley to pass. Okay? To give our opinion for something, we use this pattern, the fourth pattern. Let's take a look. Give our opinion about something. Another time, we use adverbial clause, a complete sentence function as an adverb, starting with that. Example, it is unusual. Unusual what? Further elaborate by an adverbial clause that students perform so well in a foreign language. Alright, so this complete sentence is telling you more about unusual. Further elaborate on we call modify of the word of the adjective unusual. Then the fifth pattern we'll use to describe. The fifth pattern is used to describe the subject's feeling. Let's take a look. To talk about the subject's feeling, the subject's opinion, we use this pattern. Again, we use adverbial clause, a color green, starting with that. But this time the focus will be more about the subject's feeling or opinion. I'm certain. Certain is telling you more about the subject I. Further elaborate or we try to modify the word, the adjective certain, we use another adverbial clause. That she will get grade marks is a complete sentence function as a color green, telling you more about the color yellow. These are the 5 different patterns that people use for adjectives to telling you in different situations. Now, many students told me that it is really hard to remember everything that they read. And in this video, we are sharing a very useful methods of remember everything we have read in this chapter. Now, human being is actually really hard to remembering words. Instead, we are very good. We decide to remember pictures, shapes, and colors. Then how can we turn something we read into something like pictures and colors and shapes? That's actually what we are going to do today. Let's take a look. The video actually is starting with a poem. So, at the very first thing, we start to have a picture of a piece of poem. Of course, this piece of paper getting nothing because we are going to fill out everything we learned from the passage. Okay, let's see how we could do it. And then the other thing is what's adjective. Adjective is a color yellow. So in our poem, we have 2 yellow. Okay, a yellow is representing adjective. When we see this yellow, we could recall that the topic is about what's adjective. And then what's next? Common adjectives, suffixes. Suffixes is talking about some words, some letters at the end of the adjective. So we could imagine, okay, in this poem, we have an adjective at the end. So this we minus. So the adjective suffixes, okay, is in the topic. So we use color, we use picture, and now we have poem, and we have what is adjective. Then what's next? Let's take a look. The third one, ing adjective and ed adjective. And we know that ing adjective is an adjective that tell people that something or someone make people feel that way. So take an example, frightening. So frightening means something or someone make people feel scared, make people feel frightened. Then what can we do? Take a look. Then we could have a monster. This monster we minus the ing adjective. And then how about the ed adjective? The ed adjective is telling us we feel that way. So the running chickens actually is telling us the ed adjective, ing adjective, and the ed adjective. Okay, so what's next? Negative adjective prefixes. Prefixes is talking about a certain letters that putting in front of an adjective, and then we all know that it is representing some sort of negative emotion, adjective. So in the poem, we already have an adjective, okay, starting at the beginning. So this one reminds us the prefix, and this one reminds us the suffixes. Okay, and the poem as well as the ing adjective, as well as the ed adjective. Then what's next? Let's take a look. The positions of adjective. In the chapter, we all know that adjective was putting in front of a blue or after a linking verb. A blue is a noun, and linking verb can use a color red to represent. So, in order to help ourselves to recall this memory, we can do something like that. Let's take a look. So in order to do that, we can put a color blue after a yellow and a color red in front of a yellow. And this could remind us that the positions of an adjective is putting in front of a blue and after a linking verb. That's good. Then what's next? Then we are talking about the order of an adjective. And we have understand two terms, that is cumulative adjectives as well as coordinate adjectives. Okay, so cumulative adjective is talking about different types of adjective they should put in a sequence. And coordinate adjective is talking about adjective of the same kind. So how do we deal with that? Okay, last time we talked about we used two different words, also, to represent opinion, size, and age. Then how about we give these two characters a name? So we call, alright, this frightened chick also. Okay, representing opinion and also size and age. And then this frightening monster is scum. Okay, and this is shape, color, origin, material, okay, and purposes. Okay, now we have solved most of the issue, and we use a picture to represent most of the information that we get from this chapter, adjective. Okay, we have a poem at the very beginning, and then we have color yellow, and then the color yellow is putting at the beginning, that is prefixes, and putting at the end, that is suffixes. And we have the positions of the adjective putting in front of a blue and after a color red, representing the linking verb. And we have ing adjective, which is the monster, making people feel frightened. Okay, and also the chicken, okay, which is talking about the ed adjective. And they have a name also, which is talking about different types of adjectives, okay, which is representing opinion, representing size and age. And the other monster, scum, which is representing shape, color, origin, material, and purpose. Alright, then the last one. Let's take a look. The last one, adjectives pattern. There are several patterns that we learn from this chapter, and we can use another one, both a yellow and a solid yellow. These two actually draw from our sentence pattern diagram. And these remind us, okay, both yellow and solid yellow are coming from pattern. So this bubble is remind us, okay, the pattern of adjectives that people use mainly. So instead of having words, remembering words is quite hard. We provide pictures and linkage for our brain to remember all these elements. Okay, hope these methods help you guys to remember more and more things that we have read. Okay, so that's all for today. See you next time. Like this video and subscribe our channel. Goodbye.